Let's talk about something, well, something pretty unsettling. The idea that your personal bank account, the one you use for groceries, for your paycheck, could be part of a major crime, all happening right under your nose. I mean, it sounds like something straight out of a thriller, right? But let's just ask the question directly. Could you personally, end up on the wrong side of the law, not because you meant to do anything wrong, but because someone else used you? The answer, and this is the scary part, is absolutely yes. Okay, so let's get right into how this works. See, this isn't about some sophisticated hacker breaking into a bank vault anymore. The criminals today have a much smarter, much more sinister strategy. They use the bank accounts of totally normal, everyday people to cover their tracks. You become the buffer, the shield that stands between them and the police. To really protect yourself, you've got to understand how they think. You have to know their game. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to crack open their playbook and look at the exact tactics they use to pull people just like you and me into their world. First up, let's get the basic definition down. What even is money laundering? Well, you can think of it as washing dirty money. It's taking cash that comes from crime, fraud, drug trafficking, you name it, and running it through a whole system of transactions until it comes out the other side looking totally legitimate. What's really fascinating here is just how organized this whole process is. It's not random. It happens in three clear stages. First, there's placement. That's just getting the dirty cash into a bank. Then comes layering. This is where they move it around like crazy, bouncing it between accounts, between countries, just to make the trail impossible to follow. And finally, integration. The now clean money comes back and gets used to buy stuff like houses or fancy cars. And that middle stage, layering, that's the danger zone. That's where your account comes in. So how exactly do you get roped into that layering stage? Well, you become what's known as a money mule. You're not the one calling the shots, you're just the person they use to shuttle the money around. You become the public face of the crime, while the real criminals get to stay completely hidden. And this is one of the most common ways it happens. You see a job ad online, maybe for a payment manager or a financial processor. It looks legit. They hire you, and your job is to receive money into your personal bank account and then immediately wire it somewhere else, usually to an account overseas. And for your trouble, they tell you to keep a nice little commission. It feels like the easiest money you've ever made, but what you're actually doing is laundering their criminal cash. This one is just awful, because it plays with your emotions. You meet someone online, you build a connection, it feels real. And then, surprise, surprise, there's a crisis. They desperately need money, but oh no, for some made-up reason, they can't access their own bank account. They ask you, as a huge favor, if they can just send the money to your account first and then have you forward it to them. They're not just setting you up for heartbreak, they're making you an accomplice to their crime. Now here's one designed specifically for anyone who's a freelancer or owns a small business. A new client sends you a payment for a project, but whoops, they accidentally sent you a few $1,000s too much. They're super apologetic and just ask if you could please wire the extra money back or maybe pay one of their suppliers directly for them. But that overpayment, it's stolen money. And the second you send it on, you've just become part of the chain. So right about now, you're probably thinking, but wait a minute, I didn't know. I'm a victim here too. And you're right. But unfortunately, in the eyes of the bank and the law, that ignorance doesn't just make the consequences disappear. The personal fallout from this can be an absolute nightmare, and it happens incredibly fast. So the very first thing that's going to happen is this. Your bank's fraud detection system will go on high alert, and they will freeze everything. Not just the shady money, we're talking your paycheck, your life savings, all of it. You are completely cut off from your own financial life, sometimes for months, while they figure out what happened. And believe it or not, it gets worse. Once the investigation is over, your bank will almost certainly close your account. Then they'll report your name to a shared database that all the other banks use. And just like that, you're blacklisted. No one else will let you open a simple checking account. Just try to imagine getting by in today's world with no bank account at all. It's a financial death sentence. And, of course, what do you think having a bank account shut down for suspicious activity does to your credit score? Yeah, it tanks it, completely destroys it. So forget about getting a car loan, a mortgage, a credit card. Sometimes you can't even get approved to rent an apartment. Your entire financial reputation is just gone. So here's the real kicker. Even though you didn't know what was really going on, prosecutors can argue this thing called willful blindness. Basically, they say that the situation was so fishy, you should have known something was wrong, and you chose to look the other way.
And that can lead to actual criminal charges, massive fines, and yeah, in some cases, even jail time.
Okay, I know that was all really heavy, but the good news is you are not powerless. You can absolutely protect yourself. And the key is just knowing what to look for. So think of this as your personal early warning system, the stuff that should make the alarm bells go off in your head. Listen, if you forget everything else we talk about today, please remember this. Burn this sentence into your memory. There are 0 exceptions to this rule. No real company pays its staff through a personal Venmo account. No legitimate partner who loves you needs you to act as their personal bank. This is the biggest, brightest red flag you will ever see. So beyond that #1 golden rule, here are a few other things to watch out for. Any job that offers you way too much money for what seems like a really simple task, like processing payments, that's the bait. Anyone pressuring you to move fast, telling you this is urgent or to keep it a secret, they're just trying to stop you from thinking straight. And pay attention to how they want you to move the money. Wire transfers, crypto, gift cards, those are the criminals' favorites for a reason. They're fast, and they're almost impossible to get back. But what if it's too late? What if you're watching this right now and you're getting that horrible sinking feeling in your stomach that you're already caught up in this? Okay, first thing, do not panic. What you do in the next few hours is absolutely critical. We're going to walk through your emergency action plan right now, step by step. All right, let's break this down. Step 1, stop. Everything, right now. Do not send another dime. Don't even reply to their messages. Cut them off. Step 2, call your bank. Use the fraud department number on the back of your debit card and tell them everything. Be completely honest. 3, this is so important. File an official police report. That report number is your proof that you came forward as a victim. 4, document every single thing. Screenshot the texts, save the emails, gather receipts. 5, go into digital lockdown. Change your passwords, turn on multi-factor authentication on everything. And finally, step 6, report the crime to national authorities, like the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. This checklist is how you start to prove you're a victim, not a participant. And one last really crucial warning. As soon as these scammers realize you're onto them, they might try to scam you a second time with something called a recovery scam. You'll get a call from someone pretending to be the FBI or your bank's security team, and they'll offer to help you get your money back. But first, you have to pay them a fee. This is always a scam. Real law enforcement will never ask you for money, ever. So, we've talked a lot about how to keep your bank account safe. But when you think about it, none of these scams start with a bank transfer. They start with a conversation, a job offer, a new message from a stranger, a request from a client. So the real takeaway here isn't just about protecting your money. It's about being just as careful with who you trust as you are with your passwords. Thanks for tuning in.